Hey guys, Tim Pruney here. I want to talk to you about how to keep your star players, your key employees, the team members that you need for your business to function. A lot has been said about the Great Resignation. I've been on both sides of it in the corporate world, both having people leave teams that I've been responsible for, as well as I myself left my corporate job to pursue some what I consider much cooler um, endeavors. So let's get started. The first is to remind them of your mission and vision at key times, right? A simple text or email can go a long way when it's worded correctly and timed correctly. No one wants to be disturbed by their boss in the middle of dinner with their family. Nobody. Or at the gym or online at an amusement park. They just don't, right? But there are key times right before they're about to go in for a big sale or to teach a class for you, or maybe just the beginning or end of their shift, or when you receive something from their project, a certain milestone. Let them know, remind them why it even exists. But you want to do it at a key time. You don't want to be seen as spammy, right? Just at random times. You want to do it at key times when they're thinking about you and thinking about your business, because then they know, oh, I am important. I am valued. And this is why we're doing it. This is why I joined this person's team in the first place, right? And I would do this at Tim's Tutors all the time, right? I knew my tutor schedule. So as they, when they were scheduled to go into a student, maybe 15 minutes before, just shoot them a text. Hey, I know you're going to see so-and-so. This is a great kid. Thank you so much for working with them. You've really made a difference. Keep doing what you're doing. Something like that, just to remind them, like, oh yeah, I'm here for the kids. I'm here to get their grades up, to teach them stuff. And it just makes things so much better. But you don't want to be spammy and just send that whenever you're feeling about it, right? I'm an early riser, so at 5 a.m., if I have team members that aren't supposed to be in until 9, it's kind of rude to text them at 7. But do it regularly. Just be smart about it, right? The next thing is to ask them questions, right? Real questions that you actually can act on about changing your business for the better. Doesn't matter who this person is. For example, if you own a restaurant, you could go up to your dishwasher and say, hey, really appreciate the work you've been doing. What do you think of the way the back of house is organized, right? Is that a good place for the pots and pans? Would it be better if we moved anything, right? And if they give you feedback, like, actually, yes, actually, it's a pain to move them over here. It makes me less efficient in my job. Thank you for asking. That could be real beneficial. Now, you don't want to bend to every whim of every question, but take that into consideration and use it appropriately. It's data that you can use to make the decisions. You're still going to be the one making the decisions, but by asking them, by including them in the conversation, they will feel respected. Another thing is to support their interests and side hustles, right? Like if their family is going, and usually most bosses I've had have been great as far as the family side of things. But a lot of times, managers, especially middle managers that don't understand, the hustle of entrepreneurship, have real trouble and feel almost cheated on when their team has side hustles. But if you can learn to embrace the side hustles, then you get loyal people, right? People that actually care. An example, someone on my team now, Christina, she makes this really awesome elderberry syrup for health. And anytime I'm starting to feel sick, or, I buy her elderberry syrup specifically to let her know that I support what you're doing. And I know that you have other stuff going on outside and I'm all for it, right? To let her know that, wow, this time she spends doing that, I don't feel competed with. I actually want her to bring her best self. And that includes that entrepreneurial spirit. So supporting your team members' side hustles can be a great way, especially for knowledge workers, right? People that are ambitious. If you want to keep ambitious people, you'll support their side hustles, maybe even invest in them, whether that's, giving them a business loan, or just simply purchasing their product or service, right? If you got someone on your team that's a little digital artist on the site, maybe buy a little logo or something that you're going to use on a social media, right? Support them in that way. And finally, and you were probably wondering why I didn't mention this first, is because you knew I was going to say it. Pay them well. Pay your people well. Give them that financial support that is the real reason they're choosing to work for you in the first place. Most people show up to work for a paycheck. Let's be real. So even if you're cutting staff, sometimes just a tiny little raise to the people you're keeping can make them feel important, because guess what? Every time someone is let go from a company, everyone else is thinking, could it be me? What, who's next? Right? So if you give them something that says, actually, you are very much valued, in fact, we're going to pay you more, it alleviates that, because they might not even want to leave your job, but if they see people being laid off or fired, in their own self-interest, they're going to start looking. And they might just find something that's better than pays more money or is better hours or seems like a better fit at first, even though they didn't really want to leave in the first place, but now they have a better offer, right? So the fact that you're showing them proactively, hey, you are worth this much, it makes them more likely to stay. And I would say at key milestones, these are great opportunities. When they finish a good project, maybe they have an especially, good month or quarter or whatever it is, to where they've brought in so much money, you can say, you know what, I'm going to give you this raise. And it makes a big difference. Or this bonus. Sometimes bonuses are more sustainable because it's not a commitment. But if they have a really, really, really great quarter, like giving them a couple bucks an hour, how long is that going to take? To actually be worth what they brought in when they do make a big impact. Other things are just, company perks and equipment to do their job, right? If you're running a landscaping company, and your estimator is going out there in a beat up truck, maybe get him a nice truck. Now you don't want to go too far, because sometimes we have, we get people things that we want. So if you're the kind of guy that you have a new truck every year and your estimator has had the same vehicle, like their own personal car, for like 12 years, and they've shown no interest in getting the vehicles, you're going to feel like you're giving them more than they're going to feel like they're receiving if you get them a truck. Oh, I got them a new truck, that's the best thing in the world, when they don't really care that much about it. It might still be a good idea if their truck looks sloppy and you want something nice that represents the company, but maybe you don't need to get them a new truck every year. But sometimes giving them the tools to do their job, maybe a gas card or a meal card or something like that, or a gym membership. You really want to know your people so you can give them stuff that they're going to value. That stuff can be huge. For knowledge workers, tech workers, a lot of time you're giving computers, phones, peripherals, stuff like that. And a lot of the time, you as the boss might not even know what's the best equipment for them. You might want to just give them a budget and be like, hey, I know you've had the same computer for 2-3 years. Here's a $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is budget to upgrade your equipment. One thing that people hate is when they ask for the tools to do their job and you either give them a hard no or put it off to the point that it seems like a hard no. One example from my own experience is I was running a podcast for this Shark Tank company, and literally I was using a MacBook Air to work on video editing for YouTube and other platforms. A MacBook Air with an Intel chip, an old one, right? And I was like, hey, could I get a MacBook Pro? I've had this Air for a few years. You know, the video editing is something new. My computer is not designed for this. And I got pushback that, oh, we can evaluate this like in the next year. And I think I requested that in March. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it would have been a huge sign of respect to say, you know what, we've given Tim this responsibility. Let's give him the tools that he needs. And I understand as a business owner myself, you can't always just say yes to everything, especially when you have a budget. But if people are asking you for certain tools, probably if you value that team member and it's a reasonable request, you should at least entertain it. Or, you know, there are ways to deal with things. Maybe if they want new equipment and you know they're going to use it for other stuff and it's not within your budget, you can say, hey, here's what I can do. We don't have the budget for a MacBook Pro, right? We just don't have $3,000 laying around. It's like, I know you want to upgrade. I know you need to upgrade. I know you're probably looking to upgrade for yourself anyway. What we can do is give you a $500, $1,000, whatever it is, stipend towards what you want. And that is your item. You don't need to return it to the company ever. But it's your device, but we're going to put this towards it so that you have the tool, but we just don't have the $3,000 to get you, right? There are ways like that. And in fact, things like that are seen as even more valuable, because then, hey, yeah, I get my own new computer and it's mine and it's not company property. It's my property. A lot of times people will be more appreciative of the $500 towards something that's theirs than the straight up $3,000 item that they're going to have to return to the company when it's obsolete anyway. So something like that is really a win-win. But at the end of the day, cash is king. If you could just pay your people more, that is the best. But these are just a few ways to keep your people, show them that they're appreciated. What are you doing to keep your people engaged and excited about working for you? Let me know in the comments. If you need to know more about servant leadership, you could sign up for one of my courses or get my book, Lead, Serve, Win, bestseller on Amazon. Love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.